Convicted Durban brother and sister Hardus and Nicolette Lotter are expected to be sentenced next week in the Durban High Court. Judge Shyam Ganda, sitting with two assessors, found the siblings and Matthew Naidu, Nicolette's boyfriend at the time, guilty of murdering the siblings' parents in their Westville home in 2008. Naidu's distraught mother, Yogasandri Rita Naidu, was escorted from the court by family members and refused to speak to the media. The matter is expected to resume on Monday, the 19th of March, for Nicolette's uncle to present evidence in mitigation of sentence. Earlier, Pastor Danny Israel from the prison ministries said Hardus Lotter is already rehabilitated and wants to study further towards his IT qualification. Hardus has been in prison since 2008 in the awaiting trial section. Israel was testifying in mitigation of sentence for Hardus. The Board of Inquiry established by President Jacob Zuma in November last year to investigate whether suspended National Police Commissioner Bheki Cele is fit to hold office will only start after 2 o'clock this afternoon. Spokesperson for the hearing, Bongiwe Gambu, says the hearing will only start after 2 o'clock to give Cele's legal team time to consult with him about a 2-page statement that was handed to them today. It's unclear who the statement is from or what it contains. It was the second time that the hearing was postponed today. Early this morning, evidence leader Viwe Noche asked for time to finalize and print the statement from a witness. Cele seems relaxed today with his wife keeping him company. Print Media South Africa is complaining that the legislature has cast the net far too wide in its attempt to regulate the publication of sexual conduct. PMSA, which represent a number of South African magazines and newspaper titles, is joined by the SA National Editors Forum in a constitutional court case. Provisions of the Films and Publications Act require the prior classification of magazines that contain sexual conduct but exempt newspapers from the same. The High Court found the provisions to be inconsistent with the Constitution and referred the case to the Constitutional Court for confirmation. The Minister of Home Affairs and the Film and Publication Board opposed the confirmation. The applicant's lawyer, Gilbert Marcus, argued that the provisions wrongly encompass publications aimed at education and the condemnation of the sexual conduct in question.
This is not an attack from our side on the system of regulation per se. We recognize that there are certain kinds of speech in our society which are perfectly legitimately subject to regulation. What has gone wrong here is that the legislature has simply cast the net far too wide.
Cape Town Mayor Patricia de Lille says they've complied with a Western Cape High Court order to enclose over 1,000 toilets at Makaza in Khayelitsha. This after City of Cape Town officials and representatives from the SA Human Rights Commission visited the area today for an on-site inspection. De Lille says about 300 toilets are still open because residents are unhappy about the material used in the project.
As per the court's instruction, the city did a door-to-door survey consulting with the community, and after extensive consultation, a total of 1,030 toilets out of the 1,316 toilets were enclosed with a concrete structure.
Tomato farmers under the umbrella of the Limpopo Tomato Growers Association say they have scaled down production and reduced employees due to the heat wave being experienced in the province. The association contributes 25% of the country's tomato industry. Association's chairperson, Walter Muketla, says they have over 2,000 members with farms that have 1 to 300 hectares of land in the province. He says the heat wave has had serious financial implications.
Due to this heat wave and this changed climate, we are unable to produce as we normally do because it is so hot, so we had to scale down the production. And scaling down the production, unfortunately, will also lead to a reduction in workers. Surely, if you are not producing as you usually do, even your finances will be affected. We see that with the supply at the factory. The supply at the factory from our farmers is very low because they are not producing as they usually do.
And finally, further afield, a number of bodies have been recovered from inside a ferry that sunk in southern Bangladesh. At least 150 people are missing.